Welcome back to Etc. Podcast. I'm your host Victor, along with my co-host Mark. How you doing, sir, on this fine Saturday?
I'm doing good. It's a little gloomy,
It is a little
and I'm
gloomy.
getting a little bit through through a cold. It
Sicky poo.
kind of sucks. And I think it's because I kind of strayed away from my usual routine of how I deal with stuff when I'm sick. I kind of like slacked off a bit towards the end. I
You
was like,
you you, you stopped taking your emergencies.
yeah, maybe I'm definitely gonna take one today because I literally, like I said, I usually have a routine where I just usually it's gonna sound weird, but I don't like drug myself or overdose. It's just I be like really on top of that shit, and I just like every time I'm ready for the next time to take my medicine, I'm like, all right, take it. But today I kind of like sailed off a little bit, but it's okay. I'll be good. How have you been?
I'm good, man. Life's been chilling. The weather also has been like up and down a little bit this week. 'Cause it
Yeah,
was just like the one day I came into work, or I was like I had to work early, and I was like, all right, it's cold out. Let me like put on some layers. And then I stepped out and left work, and it was warm out. And then I got like by the time I drove home, the sun was down, so then it was cold as shit out. So it's just like, damn, like it's kind of hard to stay healthy out here. But
yeah,
yeah, if you don't know, today, or actually right now, Puerto Rico's playing in the World Baseball Classic, which is why I got my PR head on
nice.
representing.
I
Um,
Yeah, I remember I heard about it like about maybe like a week ago or so. I kind of heard about it. I didn't know it was today, so that's what's up
yeah,
though.
it's their first game. I don't know how they're doing right now, so I'm gonna not check just so I don't mess up my mood. But
Good.
yeah, so if all goes well, like the last time, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans are gonna be going at it for the next month. Last time was pretty much the same idea because we slapped them, but we shall
Nice.
see. They got a good team. Our team is alright.
It's
We're gonna
alright.
see. Yeah, it's not like it's not what it used to be. A lot of our
Uh,
guys started getting older and retiring. So, and also some players like don't even like if they're injured, they'll just be like, all right, like I'm gonna sit out this one just because I have to worry about my actual job, which is playing in the MLB. So, or they're just healing from injury and they're like, I don't want to rush it. So,
yeah.
but we'll see. Yeah, like the USA team is like we have like good players in it, but our pitchers are all like 35 and up. Like they're all like on their way out just because a lot of the pitchers either hurt or they just don't feel like risking injury or anything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it
Well,
is what it is. It'd be cool though. And this is how I think this is how it used to be, and I feel like it'd be so much better when we're competitive. Not really better for us, but it'd be more competitive. Is if like because back in the day, I'm pretty sure it used to be like if you want to play in the Olympics or like anything like that, it used to be like just college kids. They're like about to be pros. They're about to play in it. I
yeah.
feel like it'd be a lot more cool because now it's like if you got like for the example, the Olympics with basketball, it's like LeBron. Like LeBron, I mean, even though he does, like a lot of stars aren't gonna put themselves out there to like get injured and fuck themselves up.
Yeah.
But if you pick these young kids that are still good, but like, they might be more inclined to like put themselves out there. But that's not the
Yeah.
point. That's not what we're here to talk about. I just want to
Huh.
put that out there that, our islands out there. Um, yeah, Cuba's playing, we're playing Nicaragua, and then Mexico and the USA is playing tomorrow. A lot of fun, good times. Always like
Let's
to
see.
pay
Let's
attention
see.
to it.
Let's see.
Phillies are good again, so I actually pay attention to baseball a lot more. So,
Nice.
and my job kind of requires me to, so it is what it is. But that's not what I want to talk about. Last week we talked about how we was going to see the Demon Slayer movie. I was like all excited. That's the last time I saw you, and then I was just deeply disappointed. So I just want to take this quick second, and you can say what you want too. But I want to talk to Amniplex and all the other motherfuckers that I don't know. Maybe it's my fault because I ain't researched it enough and I didn't know what this was gonna be. Supposedly, this was a theatrical release of the first episode or whatever, and that's why it was like this or something. But still, you don't title this shit Demon Slayer, like what was it? Journey to the Swordsmith Village
Yeah.
or something.
Whatever the
Swordsmith
next
Village.
arc.
Yeah.
Whatever the next arc is
And then
supposed to
just have 80% of it be the last three arcs.
be. Yeah. Literally.
Like that shit just blew me and pissed me off. Still was a good time because we just made it a good time. Like we were laughing our asses off in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just like, unless if you watched the show, that movie wasn't for you because you've seen 80-90% of it. And there were people walking out there like, oh, that was awesome. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You get to see the same shit reanimated on a bigger screen, but it's like this was cool. Like, nah, I'm not gonna lie, if that was my first time seeing all that, I'd be like, that was awesome. But there's a lot of story missing from that if you didn't watch it. So
True. That's why I'm like,
you
if
you
you,
just saw the biggest fight or the most crazy animated fight in the last season with no context.
yeah,
Everything, the city was blown up, people lost arms, and they just went to the most part where he's just like, Tanjiro, keep going.
That's all you know. You just hear some grown man yelling at this kid, and for some reason, this kid's fingers are now
Yeah,
bent
just
back.
my strong hand.
He's
Tanjiro had a
bent
strong
back.
hand.
This kid's dressed in makeup, freaking Zenitsu. He's over here flying through the sky.
His calves are like about to tear into shreds because he's going so fast.
Yeah, this fucking man with a boar head just going like this.
Who has a hole in his heart, but he
Yeah.
turned his organs a certain way.
Yo, there's so many plot twists. You're just sitting there for the first time. If you ever watched that, just like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is
you have
happening?
you don't know about Tengen's wives. You don't know about any of the shit that
Just
led
like,
up.
who are these three women?
You don't know how those demons appeared in the first place, how they like were in those houses and like, you know, they were seen as like just a big deal in those houses, and how the whole like shit worked there, how like there was like the head woman, and then there was just like all the lower ones that got treated like shit.
Yeah.
And their backstory when I mean, you get the backstory after they die, but it's like it doesn't build up as much. So I don't know. That movie was very poorly done, and I was disappointed. And I don't care if y'all are upset about that, but I hope y'all agree because that was kind of bullshit.
Yeah. I also agree. I saw on Twitter, I think maybe a day or two after we watched it, and they were saying like they basically put their thought out there, and they were just like, "Yo, like, I heard the new Demon Slayer movie or whatever is just like a scheme or something." He said something else,
A
like
scam.
a scam, something like that. And he was just like, "Is that true?" And a part of me really wanted to just be like, "Yes,
Yeah.
please don't go." Like,
Pirate it, please.
like you could pirate it, do whatever you want, but I just think it is such a big waste of time for you, for someone who one watches anime and two also like loves Demon Slayer. Just don't waste your money. Like
Pirate it and skip to an hour and 30 minutes, and then it'll be worth it.
like I understand
Maybe.
if you're somebody who's like, bro, like I love this thing. I really want to get it like a head start on everybody, you know, who didn't go to it, but I'm like, it's really not that worth it. Like,
Yeah.
you literally can wait for when it fully releases or whenever they like just do like each episode every week. You can literally wait and get more out of waiting than literally going now, wasting your money just to see maybe 30 minutes of one episode, or no, probably like 15 minutes, because that felt like just 15 minutes. I don't even know
Yeah.
how they're gonna like make that into like the episode itself. But again, you're so much better off just like waiting, because that was just a waste of time. Like
And it was just like it was a rainy ass day when we went, and I thought we were running late. I was trying to get us in there. I'm like, all right, I don't know how long the freaking trailer's gonna be running. Like, I don't want us to miss it. Then we get in there, and it's like an hour and a half. Like, we're just looking at each other like, when is the movie gonna start? Like, I was like, did this movie theater lie and they don't have a copy of the movie?
You were
Like, is
saying
that what
that the bull
happened?
up
Yeah,
there
the
just
bull
went-
up there just wanted to relive the past seasons. He was just pulling up highlights.
It's just like, yo, guys. So if you didn't see this, this is actually one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah,
just
he
hear me
pauses it. He's
speak.
like, wait, you notice that part? Watch.
Watch this. You see how he raises his hand there? He's literally putting all his forces.
Yeah, it's not even the actual movie. It's just anime music videos, like the ones you see on YouTube,
Right,
where they put like
exactly.
Linkin Park over anime scenes.
Yeah, that was, like I said, it was disappointing. Like I said, if you're watching this and you thought about going or thinking about, just rethink, don't go. If you really want to, go ahead.
Yeah, like if you're just like, yo, I've just been really waiting on Demon Slayer. I just want to see something. Then you won't be upset.
Go
But don't
ahead.
expect a full feature length
But
film.
also, if you do go and you're saying like you want to watch it, I promise you, just show up an hour and a half later. You don't even have to be there on time. 'cause you won't.
If you get there and you're like, I don't have time to grab snacks, you do.
You have time to go and grab snacks. If you forgot your wallet at home, you can go back.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want that takes an hour and a half, because you will be able to see what's left at the end. You'll have enough time.
Check if there's a shorter movie that's going on at the same time. Go and watch that, and then just walk in to see the tail end of Demon Slayer.
Yeah, don't worry.
But another movie that came out, there's been a lot of people talking about, that you brought up like months ago, was Cocaine Bear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came out.
So what?
I haven't watched it.
I didn't say.
But obviously, I mean, people are just, it's a movie about a bear on cocaine, so people are just gonna talk about it regardless. But I haven't seen it. It seems funny. It seems like there's some notable faces in there that I was like, oh, like I know where you're from. That's cool. But then it's like, it's still a movie about cocaine, a bear on cocaine. But what made it even better is that like they already came out with a sequel. Like I was reading this article this morning, and I'm joking, by the way. It's gonna make sense in a second. There was a I found
There's no way.
there's an article that came out, and they found the cocaine cat. Yeah. So not like a house cat, but supposedly there was like in Cincinnati, in Ohio, typical day in Ohio. Um, there was, I believe, like the proper story was that some guy has this cat. The cat, like, he had it in his car. The cat tried to like get out, and like he jumped out the car, but it messed up its leg. So they took the cat to the vet, and after examining it, they had found out that the cat had cocaine in its system. Um, and it also wasn't like a regular house cat. It was like an African. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. But it was like, I'll show you a photo as well, because it's not like it's a huge. It's not like a lion.
Okay, I'm about to say. So we talked. You said Africa. So are we talking? Are you meaning cat or leopard?
So it's an African serval cat, is the like proper name.
That sounds so majestic.
Oh, now that I'm looking at these additional photos, this is like a leopard.
Okay, you see,
Like a
that's what I was
borderline
about
le-
to say.
See, but like, all right, so this is what I saw at first, right? I don't know how. I'm
Like,
just
is this
gonna.
a stray cat or?
So like the pattern of the cat. So I'm like, oh, like this. I've seen like house cats that look like this. It just looks a little bigger, right? And then you just kind of like look at it in a cage, right?
Yeah,
And that could fuck you up.
that's huge.
Yeah.
That's like a bobcat.
That's like like that kind of thing, like a leopard type of thing. It's the size of the table. There's like 3 women leaning over this cat, and it has like spotted pats things like a leopard or some
Something
shit.
like that.
So yeah, so that man owned that cat, and he wasn't supposed to. Clearly,
Okay.
as you can see why. But supposedly, from what I read in the article, is that because of people owning like, strange, like out of the ordinary animals that they're not your typical house pet. And it's happened before that in Cincinnati, the vets, there's like common practice to check any weird animals like that for cocaine. Because previously in Ohio, there was a man who had a monkey, and there was a similar situation, and the monkey was on cocaine. So that's the third movie, Cocaine Chimp.
Cocaine chimp.
Coming out to a movie near you. But yeah, they kind of mentioned it because it was like the horror comedy on the true story of a 175-pound black bear that was found near a duffel bag and $2 million worth of cocaine. Yeah. So the cat made its escape after it was pulled over by the police.
Oh, so it was driving. Got it.
Oh my God. All right. So I was kind of skimming this story. I was like, all right, cocaine cat, I could kind of carry this from here. So the actual story is that on January 28th, this man with their cat in the car got pulled over, and the cat escaped from the car. It jumped from the car into a tree. And that's kind of like how everything started up. Eventually, hurting and injuring itself. But now the cat's okay. They have him in rehab. Nice. And he's in the Cincinnati Zoo now. Yeah. It's like, man, nice. I miss my owner, dog. He used to hook me up.
He was like, this all y'all get here? Damn, bro. Back when I was out.
Y'all don't know what it's like out there, man.
Shit's crazy. Shit's like a movie.
They that ass put him in jail because this man bought him, and I'm guessing the man he was on cocaine.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know, bro. The fact that any of these stories you tell me, I'm just so confused because like I should be worrying about the animal, but I'm just always thinking in the back of my head, like, where did the cocaine come from?
I mean, probably the same place that he bought the cat, to be honest with you.
Most likely. I mean, there's no way you just buy that off the street. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's weird. I don't know. We'll see what the next animal is.
The chimp, bro. But that was before. So that's probably the prequel to Cocaine Bear. It'll probably come out in the future. You know how movies be.
True. Backstory.
Yeah, every time I see stuff like that, I always think of the episode of Drake and Josh where that guy bought the what was it, orangutan? He bought an orangutan. He was gonna eat the orangutan.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and it was like this rich guy with like a fur, like fucking, what was it called, bathrobe?
He was like, I think, trying to put him in the pot or something like that.
Well, he was just like feeding him like hella carrots and shit. Had him in a cage, and then like right before he almost like dropped him in a pot of like orangutan stew.
Yeah.
Drake and Josh popped in, and then like the guy somehow tricked them to go into the closet and just locked them in the closet, and that's when they were talking about their phone had Bluetooth. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. But yeah, I always think about shit like that because the episode's kind of dark. The episode's kind of dark because they're about to eat a
animal.
Yeah, like damn, bull like sharpened his knives and shit. I was getting my haircut yesterday. They had Drake and Josh on. I was like, this is tough. Usually they just put on like music videos and shit.
True.
But they had like,
Yeah.
but it was late night. They had kids in there, so they had Drake and Josh playing. I'm getting my haircut. I'm like,
Fucking got Ice Spice playing. You thought I was feeling you,
bro, dead ass though.
I'm
That's how,
like, bro, can we switch that?
that's how it'll be. I always feel weird about that because some places it depends on where you go. Some places are like, all right, like a kid or like an older woman just walked in. Let's change the channel. You know, common courtesy. And other places it's just like,
Ass flying
yeah,
around on the screen.
and it'll just be like,
guns
it's like a poor single mom. I mean, obviously, like they grown, they got kids, they know what that's about, but they have their child there, and they're most likely in a lot of cases not gonna like be like, hey yo, they don't want to be that person. But it's just like a single mom just got off work, has to take her son to get a haircut because he's too young, and it's just like, I'm shaking ass in the and they be right next to that shit, watching their son just watch ass clap
I'm just like, bruh, come on now.
on like NBA YoungBoy videos or something.
True. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I was always barbershop is always difficult. And that's why it's nice to have like a barber that's like a private barber or whatever, because you don't gotta deal with all that stuff. But when I used to just go to barbershop, the one thing I always hated was when barbers would like it'd be like a couple things. They'd be like, all right, yeah, sit right here. And then they just walk away. And they just go outside. And I'm like, bro, what we doing?
So you just want to like, you call dibs on me and then just dip?
And then just dip. It'd be that. Or they'll be like, yo, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the corner store. I'm gonna get something to eat. Get a whole hoagie or a sandwich. Eat that shit while they cutting my hair. Or they'll go out and smoke. And I'm like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, are you cutting my hair or are you deciding to just like, slack off here and do whatever you want? I don't know. But I used to always hate that, honestly.
Yeah, bro. That does kind of get in my. That's like hood barbers though. Like it's just how it is. Like mine is like, it's in Jersey, so it's not in like that terrible of a neighborhood. But the barber, like if you walk in there, you're like, oh, like I'm in Philly, getting a haircut right now, just because how the shit is built. It's like half repaired, half remodeled, but half not.
True. It's always something going on in there.
Music loud as shit.
True. You can't hear anything.
But yeah, luckily my barber, he talks to people, but he won't stop cutting. You know what I mean?
That's
He
what I'm
won't. He not the
saying,
type walk off, dap everybody up. Yeah, that was crazy. It's like, come on, bro. Like,
like what? Be like, yeah, hold the clippers real quick.
yeah, I gotta go.
Oh man.
But how do we end up talking about barbers?
I'm not sure. We were talking about something being on the TV, but then the kids.
Oh yeah, I was talking about how I was getting my hair cut and I was watching Drake and Josh.
And
then we talked about single mothers going to the barbershop.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was talking about Ice Spice. And speaking of Ice Spice, you saw how freaking North.
Oh yeah, she like
hanging out.
imitated.
She was
her.
hanging out with her, I think, wasn't she?
I don't know about
There
that.
was one point. I don't know.
I saw the video of like her like lip singing to her, and she had like the orange wig.
I remember. Somebody said like, "Damn, wonder what Kanye's thinking."
Yeah. I mean, that's specifically what he was like
trying to
fighting for, like avoiding. And I mean, hey, what?
Your mom's Kim Kardashian. What can you do?
Nah, I mean, regardless, like, cause it's not like it's just her. Like, think about how many little kids out there they were doing the same shit.
Oh yeah.
Like everybody, like if every kid has access to the internet like that, they're gonna imitate those people, especially somebody who's popping right now. You know what I mean? Like she's getting a lot of attention, so it's just, I feel like it's just more the job of the parent to be like, hey, like,
stop watching.
Like that, and also just being like, hey, like there's kind of a difference here. Like that person's like 20 something years old, you're 9, like
you're 9.
Your time will come to do that stuff and like and like have fun. Like you're gonna be in your 20s one day, you'll get to do this stuff when you're older. But like right now, just like focus on being a kid. Like you're gonna miss this time. So I'm not saying like don't, listen to her music or don't whatever, but just know that like her actions and your actions, there's a line there that you're not able to step into yet.
Just stop calling little Timmy a munch, okay?
Yes.
Just because he doesn't want to give you his toy, don't call him a munch.
Yeah. Cause it is what it, like, think about the people that we looked up to like growing up and shit. It's just like, it's no different.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's just us knowing like what we can and can't do. Like we'll listen to Lil Wayne and shit or like whoever, but we're not gonna go out and like carry a gun and like just like try and do a drive-by and shit. We just know that
call a cop Mrs. Office.
Yeah, like like we knew like, oh, like we think these guys are cool, like they're famous, they got money and shit, they got shit that we want. but we also know they're like, we're 12, like we're just gonna go home and play COD Zombies for a little bit
True.
and then like hang out and watch wrestling. But it's like
Exactly.
just being able to know that
Know the
difference
difference,
and
yeah.
know the time and the place. Like we will play GTA and shit and hear the shit they would say, but that don't mean we're gonna go out and do this shit in real life.
Nigga.
Yeah.
I always remember that one scene, bro. Everybody always makes fun of that scene, bro. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, damn, bro. Because that was like you said, that's what he was trying to avoid. And next thing you know, she just came out and started doing stuff with that, like that. And I was like, damn, bro. Sorry, Kanye. You lost it this time.
But at the same time, what is he out here doing? You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know, I mean, if really, if you want to make the
She
comparison,
she got she got all the other stuff that like you'd be like, oh, like I wish I had that, except for stable parents.
yeah,
She got the money. She don't got to worry about a damn thing. She's got to worry about her dad like
literally,
putting
she,
out anti-Jewish propaganda
yeah,
on social media.
literally, she woke up and said, "Hey, I want to make my own brand of chairs." She can do it. She can do it. I don't know.
She just has a passion for chairs one day.
Hey, bro, I know Kanye likes furniture, you know, so
But at the
hey,
same time, it's just like look at who she got to deal with as parents. Like
yeah,
that's no different than having like like a person with no money or like with tough upbringing having parents that are just
yeah,
off they
exactly,
shit.
bro.
So you feel for them because at the same time, like I was thinking about this the other day, where I don't want to get too deep into this. When you think about type of decisions that parents make, and they say it's for their child, where it's just like, oh, like I want to make sure that they're good, da 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 da. It's like I understand that, but like I feel like first and foremost, this took a crazy change from what we were talking about earlier. Um, I feel like at least for a child, because they don't know any better yet, I feel like the number one thing that they will always prefer over anything else is just having their parent there.
Yeah, I
Because
was gonna say that. Yeah.
like that's always number one. Like you could give them everything in the world, but if it's like, oh, like my dad's not here, my mom's not here, like this fucking sucks. Like think about like if you play a fucking game, if you're a baseball player as a kid or a soccer game or whatever, and you're just like, oh, I really wish like my parents were here, but they're stuck doing working or doing whatever the fuck. It's like, all right, like this sucks. Like I just wanted them to be here because I want them to be proud of me or like to cheer me on.
Mhm.
And the reason I was thinking about this is kind of like one, you talk about North and her situation with her parents is like they're probably touring, they're not together anymore, so that she probably doesn't get that as much. And then you think about on like a level of like us, you know what I mean, where we didn't have like an amazing upbringing or like we didn't come from crazy finances or anything like that. Like our parents didn't have money like that, and you think about how some parents may put themselves in a position where they might get locked up, and like obviously like you do it for sacrifice for your kids and you're doing these things, but if you're putting yourself out there and yes, it's with good intentions to make sure your kid has what they want, but you get put away for 5 to 10 years, does it really matter at the end of the day in a way? Like, yes, like you're providing for them for that short span of time, but now when your son is from the ages 5 or 7 to 12, your dad wasn't there because he put himself in a bad predicament for his sake. It's very like honorable and like he's looking out for his son. But would the kid rather have like new Jordans or would he rather have his pop there?
Yeah, those are the decisions you really got to think about a lot of the time. Some people just don't think about it at that moment, and that's when they realize at the end of it, they're just like, "Damn, I should never did that."
Yeah, because I feel like that'll have long term effects compared to like what do you think about somebody more? Somebody who like didn't have their dad for the reasons like that, where they got away, or their mom they got away for a certain reason because of to make sure that they had certain things that they wanted, but they didn't have their dad for 5 to 10 years, and that's the effects of that. But they had J's and shit, or they had like obviously like a roof over their head, or somebody who like struggled but still had their parents there both together to kind of like help them through that. Like being broke, you can make jokes about that, and this is just character building. You know what I mean? Like you look back at certain shits like that, like damn, we was really broke, but that shit was funny. But when you think about, but like as at least I had my family there, like I have my parents, I have guidance, as opposed to a kid with maybe a single parent or living with their grandparents, and they don't really know their parents that well or remember or have childhood memories of having their parent there.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think it definitely at the moment, those things sometimes can feel like it's really great because it's just like instant gratification, you know? A lot of people just like that. But again, long term wise though, it sucks because there's just a lot of things that come with not having like a parent there, whether if it's
Hmm.
both or just one, regardless. There's a lot of things that come with that. So it's just like you said, long term effect that could really just like kind of hit. It might not hit within the first year, maybe not even two, but down the line, it's gonna definitely seem like you're gonna see some difference and just be like, damn, like you could probably say, let's say it's the dad. You can go to your mom all the time for things, but again, being like, who said, let's say a boy, it's just there's certain things you can't
There's
go
just a
to your mom.
difference.
It's just a
It's
difference
just
of everything. So, like I said, like yeah, now you got these Jordans, but you can't like even thank your dad for that, or it's just the idea of like, man, like
I
now
gotta
the only time I like look at these Jordans, I can only think of them, and I'm just like,
yeah.
damn, like
Or I'm seeing them in a jumpsuit, or I'm watching, talking to them on FaceTime or some shit because I
yeah,
can't really see them that often, or
yeah,
visitation, or and don't like I'm not trying to like offend because I get why people do it. Like it's with the intention of making sure that their kids are good and mad respect for the hustle and shit like that. But I was just kind of like saw a certain situation in my own life, and I was just kind of like, when you really look into it, it's like, all right, yes, you're providing a certain thing for them, but then you're kind of taking away other stuff from them as well, and it sucks. And there's just certain stuff where it's like, all right, like I know now we're getting to a point, and like, or I guess more, even more so now, where it's becoming more normal, where we might have, you know, a household where two male parents or two female parents, or man parents or woman parents, and obviously like that's different now. But I think regardless, and I mean obviously we can't speak for like girls, but at least for boys, I feel like in some capacity, it doesn't even have to be your father. You need like a male figure that can like help you navigate just how to be a guy. Like I feel like that's always needed. Whether if even if it's not your dad, or say if you were adopted, or you know you surrogate or whatever the fuck, and you have two moms, like because obviously now like gay marriage and shit is just like the landscape of shit is just gonna be a whole lot different. Like the norms are becoming a lot more different in some capacity, whether if it's an uncle or just fucking teacher or coach. You need somebody to just kind of be like,
yeah.
hey, like I know, like, you know, a mother figure can do like can only do so much. There's just certain stuff where it's like you don't know what it's like. Same way that I could, like me as a father, I'm not a father, but like me as a father, I could never fully go into what it's like to be a woman for my daughter in the future.
Yeah.
It's just like there's just certain things that like having that presence makes a huge difference, and I know that just for myself because I'm very blessed to have both my parents in my household, and I feel like above anything else that they've given me, that is the most important thing, at least that I can attribute to like how I
Yeah.
am right now. That I did have both of them in my household.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely agree. I think there's two things you need because I mean, a lot of times they say like women are more gentle, and obviously like men are more just kind of like stern, I guess, and hard with a lot of things. But
And that's not even always like always true in some
no,
cases,
yeah, yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. I say for the most part that they say that, but it's just like I feel like regardless, either if it's a man or a woman, I think like it is nice to have both parents in because
yeah.
they both give some type of aspect of things, you
Or
know.
just having like that figure there, whether if it's a grandfather or whatever the fuck, like
Yeah.
somebody ought to be. It's like, I have a wiener and I don't know what to do with it. What does this mean? Why is it doing things?
Why is it doing things when I'm not telling it to do
Why does it
things?
have hair on it now? I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody tell me something.
Help.
How do I treat people? Like, well, how do I navigate this stuff? I'm a guy. People look at me a certain way now. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
When I tell people something's wrong, they tell me to suck it up. How do I deal with that shit? Like, there's certain stuff that
That I feel like to me is the hardest thing when
yeah,
because I mean that's the thing I feel like a lot with this generation now. I think it's becoming normal, but at the same time still like being a little bit kind of pushed off with
yeah. We
just
didn't have that. We didn't
yeah.
have that same
Yeah,
outlook
with
earlier
the
on.
whole idea of like sharing your feelings, I guess, because it's just not common.
Yeah, nah. Deal with it, son.
Yeah, it's really deal with it, and that's how I feel like a lot of times I am with me, you know, like, just the idea of, like, if you have a problem, like, I would just, like, suck it up or say whatever about it because, I mean, that's just kinda me being laid back or whatever, and I try not to, like, focus too much on things because a lot of the times it's like, if it's, like, happening to you, like, damn, it sucks, but try to, like, get over it, you know, like, whatever, but a lot of times people don't want like, I don't know, I feel like it's a lot of times as a guy, you don't wanna, like, put those, like, I guess, emotions on other people, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, you're just kinda like, whatever, feel like you're
Yeah.
being, like, a burden. I think that's how a lot of times it is when it comes to being a guy, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then it's so easy for you're like, oh, like I'll bear that burden for somebody else, but you don't want to put that on anybody else.
Yeah, that's usually how it
That's a
is.
whole other episode. We could bring this back another time. That's easy, but we out of time. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers again. We're on our way to
Yes.
1,100 already.
Let's
And
go.
we're growing and we're moving. We're very happy, but we appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.